Yeah, you're so awesome, T. Yeah, you're so awesome. Oh, no. What? You never seen a 30-year-old man playing with kids' toys? You're missing out. Take Me Higher, Ultraman Tiga. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of Chikyuseijin ProtoMet, or Earth Alien ProtoMet. And in today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the 90s television series by Tsuburaya Production, Ultraman Tiga. Now, a little bit of backstory regarding Tiga. The Ultraman series hadn't really been much of a thing outside of movies since 1980 or 81, I forget exactly. There had been a couple of Ultra shows produced in other countries, such as Ultraman Towards the Future from Australia and Ultraman The Ultimate Hero, which was produced for an American audience but not actually released there. And Tsuburaya Productions was kind of wondering if they even really needed to keep going with the Ultraman series. There was a pitch for another show called Ultraman Neos, and while that show didn't actually get produced until 2000, it did inspire the heads of Tsuburaya to reinvigorate the Ultra series and try marketing it to a more modern audience. See if the concepts of it would still work. So, how did it fare? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about the plot, shall we? The Earth is largely at peace thanks in large part to a group known as the Terrestrial Peace Coalition, or TPC for short, which have ended various conflicts all over the world and unified humanity under a single banner, Earth. But lurking at the edges of this peace is a sinister darkness that threatens to engulf the Earth. Something that it attempted eons ago. A meteorite crashes onto Earth and coincides with the appearance of a giant monster who begins rampaging. In order to deal with both incidences, TPC scrambles its defense organization, known as GUTS, to both investigate the meteorite and try and stop the giant monster and its rampage. Investigating the meteorite finds that a capsule is contained within, and bizarrely, this capsule originated on Earth eons ago. The capsule contains a message both prophesying the appearance of the giant monster that's currently rampaging, but also forewarning of a potential threat to humanity in the modern age. But it also gives a glimmer of hope, telling of hidden statues that contain the spirits of ancient giants of light, which may be resurrected to save the modern world. Investigating the location of the giants' statues, one member of the GUTS organization, known as Daigo Madoka, becomes a little too involved, but not by chance, as it is eventually revealed to him that he is the descendant of one of the giants of light, a giant by the name of Tiga. And finding the statues, he ends up becoming one with the statue and inherits the light of his ancestor. Keeping this power of his a secret, he battles against not only the giant monsters that began appearing, but also the aliens that began trying to invade Earth, while at the same time keeping this power of his a secret from his comrades, but aiding them when they most need it. Now, usually at this point in my reviews, I hint at some of the developments that occur outside of the section that I just previously finished. But that's not really the case with this series. In fact, a lot of the episodes are pretty standalone, and it isn't until really towards the end that any overarching plot makes itself apparent. Not that it's unwelcome. In fact, I quite like the fact that it takes so long to actually have such an overarching plot to it. Most episodes are pretty fun and are able to be enjoyed on their own. In fact, I really love Ultraman Tiga. In fact, it's my favorite entry in the Ultra series. But why? I'm not quite sure. But I have a few ideas as to why. One reason I do quite enjoy this series is the fact that all of the members of Guts are given enough screen time to develop them not only as characters, but also as people with strengths and weaknesses. They start off seeming like they're going to fall into various archetypes, but by the end you really form a strong connection with every member. And while some, such as Yasumi, aren't as developed as the others, that doesn't make them any less of characters. In fact, I would argue that probably only Daigo is the least developed character. But that's not a bad thing on his part, as he is still pretty well developed. Another positive for the series is the fact that, again, a lot of episodes have standalone stories. Their plots are concluded by their end of their episodes. Some do have multi-parters, and there are some really standout episodes that really drive home just how cohesive the entire cast is, developing them not only then and there, but also leaving seeds for potential character development, which is very nice. But probably the most interesting thing about Ultraman Tiga is that it takes the concept of a giant hero defending Earth against monsters and aliens with the help of a defense team that the original Ultra series had going for it, and completely reinvent it to actually be interesting rather than retreaded. The fact that Daigo is a descendant of Ultraman Tiga, rather than just simply a host or a human form for Tiga, is an interesting concept, as we've never really had a descendant of an Ultraman before, beyond the sons of Ultra Father and Ultra Mother. But it's also the fact that Daigo is in complete control of Tiga and its power, and the fact that Tiga has a variety of different forms in order to adapt to the various threats that he and his teammates face. It's quite interesting. I genuinely love Ultraman Tiga, and as I previously stated, it is my favorite entry in the Ultra series, period. I kind of had a bit of a hard time writing for this episode because I had a bit of a hard time thinking of what exactly I wanted to say to convey just how awesome of a series this is. The series has been released on DVD in the US through 4Kids, and thankfully doesn't contain the dub, which from my understanding isn't that great and isn't even complete. It did get brought over to the US and did air on American television, but not for very long, and from what I understand, it really only was brought over to help explain a joke in another show. Which is a darn shame, because this is a really good series. The manga, on the other hand, is a bit of a different story. But you'll have to click on that to find out my opinions on that. Still, Ultraman Tiga is a really good series, and I highly recommend doing your best to track down the DVDs if you can. The DVDs only contain the Japanese versions with subtitles, but that's all you really need to fully appreciate this series. Anyway, this has been me, ProtoMet, for Earth Alien ProtoMet, signing off.